yesterday, one of our guests, Femi Adeyeye, was on the Breakfast Cafe, and due to some network glitches, we could not have a smooth conversation. But I'm glad to say that he is here live to discuss hashtag Fearless in October, a demand for a better future. Good morning, and it's so glad to have you.
Yes, finally. It's been a very good one. Thank you so much for the persistence.
Yes.
Because yesterday we were grappling with network, and I was moving from one part of my apartment to another. But it's good to tell you that at 64, you have a country where internet penetration is still low. Irrespective of your location, it's still it's not so good. Many of the countries we got independence at the same time, or even after us, you check their internet penetration. You know, it's part of what we're discussing. But I'm very sure we're going to do justice to that discussion.
All right. So Fearless in October. Yes. I like that hashtag. Fearless in October, a demand for a better future. Yeah. Yesterday, President Tinubu also gave a speech, and while some have said that the speech did not hit the nail. Let's get your thought. Let's start from there. What are your thoughts about the presidential speech yesterday?
It's just another bland speech because there is nothing there that addresses the everyday struggles of Nigerians. Like I told a friend yesterday, that it is only on Microsoft Excel Nigerians are excelling. Aside that, in their everyday life, you cannot say, okay, this is the effect of government or good governance. And that is why this protest was called in the first place, which is that we need to end bad governance. Everything the president said, I'm very sure so many political analysts, developmental economic staff, severed that speech, and they found so many lies. The lies about paying out 30 trillion ways and means and all of that, it's a lie. The one that looks somehow good to some liberal-minded people was the one about National Youth Conference.
Yes,
everybody's now.
Yes.
But Nigerians should come to that realization that there are some buzzwords now that have become so trite in our political lexicon, where you hear conference, you hear confab, you hear investigation, you hear suspension. Anytime you hear these things, run, because they've become so we've used it over time, but you cannot find. For example, Obasanjo also had a conference, Jonathan had a confab 2014. That was not even the youth, that was general and all. Where are the reports still today? Have they been implemented? So everybody is just Buhari also called one, and anytime you hear conference in this country, it is just another arrangement for some boys to get rich somewhere in Abuja. That's the truth. So nobody should be under any illusion that the president means well by calling some kind of conference. At the end of the day, the people you have at that conference would be APC members, just the same way they are the ones who receive the rights that they share anytime they share those rights. So let's just start discussing
somehow you're sounding like Dr. Adeyeye. He's a sociopolitical technocrat. We had him on the show this morning. So Olumide had asked him that there were actually youths in the north who were praising President Tinubu for good leadership. They actually came out, to oppose the protesters. They had a rally to say President Tinubu had done well. I don't know what your take is on that, though, because Dr. Adeyeye said these people were paid to do it.
Definitely. We've been around for a while. I'm very young, but I think even, all of us here, we've been around to know real protests and rallies that are just arranged. In fact, in Abuja, it is an occupation. Yes, in Abuja, it is an occupation. We have contractors for rallies, for presidents, for governors, anybody. If you need 20,000 people right now in Abuja, there are contacts you can make. So all these things are paid. They are sponsored to just come and sing the praise of government. But what we're saying is this, that the president should become more interested in providing good governance and not cosmetic governance, propaganda. Instead of providing governance, what you are interested about is, is my name good in the media? That's not it. The average Nigerian should be able to say, yes, I am feeling the impact of government in my life, like positively, because definitely we are feeling the impact negatively today. We should be the one who propagates your works and not few persons that sometimes if you give them placards, they don't even know what's written on them. There were some people during the last protest, August 1 to 10th, they got to the protest ground in Abuja. And I'm using Abuja because that's the federal capital territory where this business goes on. They got there And one of them, the video is online, and one of them was the hunger day, hunger day. The leader said, no, that was not why you are here. You had to call. We are here to say we support the president. Why are you saying hunger day? The guy was just ranting. In fact, they joined the protesters. And that was it in Abuja. It's online, this video I'm talking about.
So coming back to the protest,
yes.
the papers, and that's what I was saying earlier before we came live, I was asking you, or she was asking you, that the protest had low turnout. Papers reported that. What's your take on this?
No, that's not true. I do not know who was on the streets to count the number of persons. A country that has not done population census all this while is now so interested in the number of people who come out to protest. But that's by the way. Another thing is that protest is also in different forms. And that is why we've tagged this Fearless in October. And it's going to be a continual process. It's in different forms. People might sit at home and then decide, you know, in defiance that they are not coming out. We see it in the Southeast every Monday. Those ones are already on protest. The whole 5 states in the Southeast, every Monday they are sitting at home. That is their own protest. Do you get? Some persons yesterday in Lagos sang the old national anthem in defiance. So protest has different forms. Many people just feel that, okay, when you hear the word protest, it is rally, marching on the street. It has different forms. And that's what you're going to see. Moving forward, because I belong to the movement, the Take It Back movement, you would see caravan protests. You know, people would drive their cars to the states, government houses everywhere in the country just to blow on. You know, we'll be doing a lot of, you know, civil disobedience moving forward.
If I may come in here, I thought you were given a particular spot where you guys can hold, I mean in Lagos, I don't know about other states, where you guys can hold your protest. Now you're saying you want to drive around. Wouldn't that contradict what the police and security agencies are saying? No, you know, that's also a ploy by the government just to, you see, you cannot beat a child and then determine how the child would cry, determine when the child will cry, determine where the child would cry. That's what they are trying to do. Anyone who does that is a tyrant. After pinching a child in Africa, they say, if I hear pim, you know that thing? If I hear pim, and then you now tell the child again where to go and cry. No, it's not going to happen. So any court order that is, in fact, that court order itself is in contravention of the Constitution, you know, which gives us the right of peaceful assembly, you know, movement and all of that. So they know that they are just playing games, and it's just because the judiciary itself is in deep corruption, or else nobody, no judge in this country should even accept such matter. Do you get? But it's called civil disobedience for a reason. We are not going to be criminal about it. We are going to disobey
civil disobedience.
Yes, and it is allowed everywhere in the world. So we are going to disobey whatever court order that wants to restrict the freedom or the quest for freedom of Nigerians. So that's why you're going to be seeing different levels of protest. Like I said, the caravan horn, we're going to move around, blow horns at a particular time. You will see vigils and all of that. I promise you. That's why it's called Fearless in October. It's going to be a very long time. When you have a government that is deaf to the demands of the people, what you do is you continue to, you know, like Yorubas would say, I would say it in Yoruba and I'll try to translate. They would say, Kokoko la ronfa diti. What that means is that if you're to consult Ifa for a deaf person, you must point to it at every point. This is what Ifa is. You would describe, you would do sign language, you would demonstrate. And that is why we're demonstrating to a deaf government. Because this government is actually deaf. After the 10 days in August, one wouldn't expect that the next thing you will get from the government is to increase fuel price. But it just goes to tell you that they feel when they are tired. And that's why we're calling on Nigerians that troop out in your thousands, in your millions. When we all flood the streets, they would understand. NSAS is a very good example. Some of them left the country immediately. They are not powerful. It is just that the people do not understand the power they have. You know, the power in the people, like we say, is greater than the people in power.
Wow, that's very well said. Now, you talked about Fearless in October. Yes. Now, our topic is a demand for a better Nigeria. Yeah. What's a better Nigeria for you? What would it look like? A better Nigeria?
Yeah, a better Nigeria, I think, and I think I speak for, you know, a number of people, especially my demography. A better Nigeria would be a place where I can sleep at night with my 2 eyes closed. I can go on road trips, you know, without being scared that bandits are going to attack from, you know. I was in Abuja last 2 years, and I was to use train from Abuja to Kaduna because that was the big thing at that time. And I got there and I saw exotic cars parked at the train station, which means that our politicians also cannot, because this is just an hour drive. Abuja to Kaduna is less than an hour. But they would have to park their G-Wagon to enter the train to move down to Kaduna.
So it's safer.
Yeah, it's safer. Until bandits then attacked that train. Then they were stuck. So it goes to tell you that even this bad governance thing we're talking about affects them too. Affects even the elites that you know. I use that advisedly. So a better Nigeria is also a place where after working for 35 years, you won't have to drive boats. And I'm giving practical examples. I have ordered boats in the middle of the night, and a 65-year-old woman, because we had a conversation, picked me up. 65? 65, yes. She told me she's 65 years. I saw the gray hair, so I was shocked. Sorry, ma. Are you sure you're the one I ordered? I said, yes, and let's go. After retirement, because the gratuity, the pension, it does not meet up to anything. You know, the pensions, they don't even get it. So a better Nigeria will be a place where that kind of woman would be able to rest. To retire after 65, after working for 35 good years in civil service. It's going to be a place where I'm not going to spend 100,000 naira to buy a bag of rice or beans, where my take-home salary can actually take me home. Because today, take-home is not taking anybody home. I have a friend who was telling me how he spends 7,000 naira every day on transportation and feeding somehow. They definitely was going to borrow just to earn 3,000 naira per day.
Wow.
That is where we are in Nigeria. And it will also be a place where the dream of every Nigerian is not to escape from the country. Because that's the syndrome now, the Japa syndrome. Everybody who is studying anything in this country, who's doing anything in this country, has a plan, an escape route. You know, when people are escaping out of their own country, every day, every now and then, the US is increasing their visa fee. but people are still, in fact, you have interview dates booked already for 2026. You can check these things. So these are the issues. And so a better Nigeria would be a place where the rights of every Nigerian are respected, where the criminals are not working free, while activists are hounded, journalists cannot speak freely on TV. You know, if you're a whistleblower like PDOM, you know, Isaac Bristol, you'll be sent to prison. Nnamdi Kanu, you'll be sent to prison. But the people stealing, you know, the treasury of the country, Yaya Bello, we are still looking for him. You know,
that's an allegation, though.
No, it is the truth.
All right, so let's get more realistic now. Let's start from end bad governance.
Yes.
A lot of them have been incarcerated. Some face treason charges. Some 10 million naira bill. How has it been?
Yeah, we've been very much on that matter, and it goes to tell you how, you know, how backward our society is, and the judiciary is actually not helping. I make no bones about it. That's the truth. When poor people, hungry people, people who said, oh, please end hunger, are sent to prison and they are asked to pay 10 million naira bail bond just to get out of the place. But I can assure you that our lawyers are really working to make sure that these persons are back so they can continue the protest, yes. And they are very, you know, they are in high spirits. Before this whole thing was reduced to 10, even minors were arrested in Kano. You know, children were locked up, you know, for days, sent to prison and all of that. So it's an eyesore what Nigeria has become, a place where you are scared of going out to protests. The fear is just there, like what's going to happen. And but for us at the Take It Back movement, we understand that the price you pay for liberty is actually eternal vigilance. You must continue. What they want to do, what will be their victory, is to make sure that nobody speaks again. You know, they put the fear to the point that Nigerians are now so scared to say anything. That would be victory for them, but we would not allow that. And that is why we've tagged this Fearless in October. We are asking Nigerians to shelve their fear. if you're already on the ground, why are you afraid of falling? What else is left?
So basically, you have lawyers. For instance, if okay,
if you're arrested,
but if I'm a layman or if I'm just someone who feels I want to, you guys have lawyers, and these lawyers, are they doing it pro bono?
Definitely,
they're doing it pro bono.
Yes, there's a legal, department, taking care of that, and also we must also thank the NBA. This is the first time that I've seen an NBA rising to their task in the society. And so there's a committee that was put together by the NBA president called the Civil Liberty Committee or something like that. They've been going around, rescuing people, taking them out of prison. In fact, kudos to the president for putting this together. Yes.
And
we're working with them.
Oh, fantastic.
So don't be afraid when you're arrested.
During the NSAS protest,
yes,
one of the things that former President Muhammadu Buhari did was to say, okay, you guys come, let's talk. How would you want this administration to respond to you? Now, when you talked about the national confab, you didn't buy it. It just wasn't something that interested you. How would you like this government to respond to your protest?
It is to accede to the demands. Simple. And nobody's meeting. We are not negotiating with them.
Oh, so if it says come, you won't go?
No. All these things are clear. There is nothing, written in esoteric language. It's plain language. Everything you have in there are demands. Anytime they call for all this negotiation, that's why we are not part of this negotiation thing. Buhari did not actually ask for negotiation during NSAS, and that was why, when he was interviewed later, he described NSAS as a treasonable act against his government, where he said, those youths who wanted to overthrow me. That was those were the words of President Muhammadu Buhari. So he did not see NSAS as a demand for good governance.
But did he say he was going to address? Did he say he was going to address some of the issues raised?
No, that's PR now. That's not Buhari doing it. Those are the what's this man, Femi Adeyeye. They are the ones who write all those. I'm very sure Buhari does not even know the color of the paper they used to write many of those things. He's not interested. He saw it as a coup, against his government, and that was what he said. That those youths that wanted to, chase me out of power. Even the present, president left the country at that time. He only came back after those youths were killed at Lekki, and then said, the Jagaban did not go anywhere. It's a lie. Jagaban ran away. Jagaban ran to France. That was what happened, and that was why he was asking, why were they there? Where are the bodies? Those very, very funny statements. So, for us, what we're saying is that the government should accede to these demands. These demands are not, that's why we call them non-negotiable demands.
Can we hear some of them again?
Yes, the minimum wage, making sure that renationalization of, privatized.
Sorry to come in there. Right. The minimum wage, do you want an increase? It's 70,000 naira now. Do you want an increase or? Definitely.
Even NLC is saying we were gamed. We told them that time that there's something called purchasing power parity. And needs assessments that you have to sit down. I don't know where NLC actually did their maths, and then they agreed to 70,000 when the president. This man you're working with is a rogue. I say it. He's a rogue. He understands this whole game, and so he said, okay, 70,000. Now when fuel has gone up, food, inflation has also risen, and all of those things. They are now, you deceived us. You told us that with 70,000 naira, there won't be any increment. We said, you guys should not, you should go there with your calculation and not just as the spirit leads, and that's a lesson for them. And I think they are biting themselves right now. So aside that, there are 17 demands, one of which is that all political prisoners should be released, including Nnamdi Kanu. We say it's, many people have their issues with his style, his method. But what we're saying is that you cannot place legality under illegality. This was a man who was extraordinarily rendited. He was brought into Nigeria like was kidnapped. Let's put it, straight. And then he was brought to face a court of law.
But you do know he jumped bail.
He was brought, no, because he was to be killed. That was the story.
Is this based on investigation?
Yes. We are Nigerians and we see these things. He did not leave his house. You gave a man bail after a long time in jail. He was given bail, and then you came to his house to invade his. He has to run. The first principle of natural justice is for him to at least leave. You understand? And there are so many legal intricacies around this. Even the Supreme Court has also agreed at some point that this man should be, let go, but the politics is being played. So those are some of the issues. And also is the nationalization of all these privatized sectors in our economy. And that is what is actually pushing us down this drain when a national asset is being sold at peanuts, price to these profiteers. And people say, oh, we are running a capitalist system. This is not capitalist. This is a rent system by my own, definition.
Look at what's happening to the power. Look at what's happening to the power sector right now.
Exactly.
Femi, we could go on and on. Gosh, I think we have to have you back here. What do you say?
I would definitely make myself available.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You've been brilliant on the show, and we do appreciate it that you came live. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise yesterday when the network. Thank you so much. So we've been speaking to Femi Adeyeye. He is a political activist, co-convener and Fund Education Coalition. And we've been talking about the hashtag Fearless
in October
and what it is to have a better Nigeria.